Okay, so we have a bunch of new knives from Kaiser, some of which are models that already exist, but we do have some new models as well. This is the Kaiser original, the large version. Now there is a smaller version of this that comes in different materials. This is like, it reminds me of galvanized steel, but this is titanium. Now this almost has like a sparkle to it. I bet it would look really cool with an anodization, but one thing that's cool about it is that this will block out scratches and stuff like that. Like, you know, this would be a very durable finish. Then we have a milled titanium pocket clip. They do a really good job with these because it's a deep carried milled titanium pocket clip. I think Kaiser was like the first one to do that. And this is a button lock. I've already tested it to make sure it's not going to fail. The detent is perfection. 154 cm. This is a great size EDC knife for a compact EDC. It's got a nice profile. The action is ridiculous. You can get a full grip, you know, and it's just a badass knife. The next one is the Kaiser Drop Bear. Now this one's in S35VN and has this, what is this called? Dark matter carbon fiber. What's cool is it has like purple hues in it. I'm not sure if it'll come up over the camera, but I just noticed this. Wow. It's got a lot of purple hues. That's very cool. So I have a bunch of different versions of this because there are lots of different versions. Even just the base model, the regular one with 154 cm and aluminum handles is great, or the micarta. So the aluminum does feel a little bit more premium than the micarta one, but they did such an amazing job creating their version of a crossbar lock because they send you extra omega springs that are thicker than the ones that are in it, and there's holes so that you can tune the strength of the detent as strong as you want. It comes usually perfect out of the box. I did have one come at a lower setting, but you know, usually crossbar locks usually don't fail. I have seen them fail, but they usually don't. But anyways, they usually tune it to a perfect detent. Like I said, I had one that came a little bit on the lighter side and it just had to be adjusted. Again, deep carry milled titanium pocket clip that works great. Lots of jimping up the spine. The spear point blade shape is perfect for EDC. Great size. This is one of my favorite models from Kaiser. Next is, now this one's a new one. This one is the Sparrow. Now, I think I have the Sparrow in micarta. It's either micarta or G10. I think I have two of them. But this one's titanium, and it feels completely different. Like I wouldn't have even thought of it if I didn't remember the name, because it is so different than my other one. This one has obviously a titanium frame lock with this aluminum oxide blasted finish, almost like a Chris Reeve. You can see they got the replacement plate for the reversible milled titanium pocket clip. Nice spring tension on there, and I like how it's not over the top of this, so it gives you a good area to have a clip in. The blade steel is S35VN, and you have the reverse flicking hole. The detent is really nice on this. Great reverse flicking detent. Good access to that hole. Oops, that was my fault. Nice strong detent. And then thumb flick, same thing. This is actually a really good thumb flicker. Now the flipper tab, it's good. You know, I do like it, but I wish that they would have put one more jimping right here, and I wish this jimping was just slightly sharper. Is it bad? No. I just think it would be even better if that was the case, even though like it's not annoying, it doesn't bother me, it's just fine. You can see the action's really good. You can push button it or light switch it. Both of them work really well. So access to the lock bar is good. You can see how drop shutty it is. Yeah, the Sparrow, this is a cool little knife. Like I said, this one I like a lot more than the other ones. I wasn't a big fan of the other ones, to be honest. T8 hardware all the way around. Love to see that, except for the clip and steel lock bar insert. Stonewashed finish on the blade. Now, this type of titanium will show snail trails and stuff, but a lot of people love that. Next is the Kaiser Assassin. Now, I like this knife. I like the large version more. This one, I have a few different versions of these. I like the micarta large version. Now this one comes with this carbon fiber. Now I'll be honest, I don't like this type of carbon fiber because it's G10 with a carbon fiber overlay. And like, but this is unique. I've never seen this with this type of micarta. It almost feels like it has air underneath it. Like there's pockets, like it's real fibers. So I do think this is some sort of real carbon fiber over the top of G10, which is interesting because like I said, I've never seen it like this. But the Kaiser Assassin, just, you know, the knife itself, phenomenal detent, great drop point blade. It does give you a full grip, but like I said, I like the large version more, or the XL version. Great detent, 154 cm blade steel, no failure on the button lock. Kaiser usually does a good job with their button lock action. I found a couple here and there, but lots of milling on the inside. And yeah, I've talked about this knife many times. You guys know I like it. I like the larger one a little bit more. Now, this next one, this is a brand new model. This is the DOGFISH. Civivi's got a DOGFISH too. Now this one comes with lots of deployments. You have 1, 2, 3 forms of deployment. Plus, you know, you could use the button. And it has this harpooned drop point blade, beautiful harpooned drop point blade in 154 cm. Nice, I think it's a Cerakote finish, and then aluminum handles with a titanium milled pocket clip. It's not the deep carry milled clip, but it's a titanium milled pocket clip. The tension does not seem too strong, so it should be fine over the surface, but it has a replacement plate on the other side, and you can see the color difference. Now that's because this is aluminum and this is titanium. It's both black, it's just aluminum seems to take a little bit more of a matte black. I personally like the two-toned finish of it. I actually do, because it matches the blade. You got the blade and the hardware, and is it the backspacer too? No, the backspacer matches the scales. But these scales feel very premium. While this is considered one of their more affordable knives, it feels pretty premium because it's aluminum and it has this nice texturing. This is very deep milling. I love the spiral. Fantastic action. You have the flipper tab, which is a very minimal flipper tab that works great. Cool sound too. Then you have the front flipper. Now what they did right was they put the jibbing up and all the way around, which is the way you want to do it. So you can grab this corner and do it. You can reach over. You can do the side finger. You could roll it. You could do, you know, however you want. It's very fidgety. Then you have the hole deployment. Now the hole is a little bit tight in there, but it's not bad. I can easily do it. I can even do it with my thumb. The reverse flick is pretty easy. And, you know, being a button lock, you know, the detent's not going to be super strong, but Kaiser does a pretty good job making sure it's strong enough. And the ergonomics, you could choke up all the way up to the edge. If you're back here, I get a full grip, but I am far away from the edge, and there's a lot of grippiness to the handle, so, you know, I could use it back here, no problem. You know, it's got the nice jimping right behind the harpoon, so that's really nice, but man, this is where it's at right there. You know, when you choke up, or if you use it like in the pinch grip for utility cuts and opening things up. All in all, I'm digging this thing quite a bit. Great size for a lot of people. This is, you know, pretty much a standard size that a lot of people enjoy for a pocket knife. It's not too big, not too small, and it has a good look to it. I think it's a nice aggressive look with also holding some elegance to it. The button has some nice jimping on there. Now, as far as lefties though, you might struggle with hitting, I don't know, man. I'm not a lefty, so it's difficult for me to say, but you might struggle with hitting the button. I'm not positive. I kind of do, but I'm also not lefty, so it just, I don't know. That would just depend on you, I guess, but this is a really cool one. Next, we have a neck knife. I have the other versions of this, by the way, because there is 2 or 3 other versions, you know, for different blade shapes. This one's the Hawkbill, and this one is probably my favorite one yet because it really has a blade shape that I think could benefit you for what its purpose is. You know, for not only a neck knife, but for a self-defense knife. You got this jimping right there. You got this little nub, you know, that kind of smashes in your hand, but it's enough to where, you know, you can get a nice solid grip. You can put it in the middle right there, which is really nice for swiping and punching. You could technically go with the pinky right here if you were going to use it as a punching tool. It might not be the most comfortable, but in this grip you can use it as a utility cutter. You know, you can put your middle finger in there and, you know, trace things out, open things up. It can work really good as just an EDC knife. 154 cm blade steel. It's got this micarta scales, and there's the one thing though is that the other sheaths had a hole in it. I'm confused about this sheath. It feels a little awkward, but it is for a neck knife, so you can hang it from your neck. But very, very cool either way. You know, with the hole, it was kind of irritating when you stick your finger in there, so I bet you could get used to gripping it like this and just being ready to put your finger in. So, not too bad. Now, we do have one more folder. I accidentally skipped. Where is it? Here it is. This one is the Kaiser Coon. Coon or Kun? Now, I want to like this thing so much, but I do have some issues. One thing, I love the look of it. I love how streamlined it is, how the blade sits all the way in the handle. It's nice and squared off. Lots of forms of deployment. You got the flipper, you got the front flipper, and then you have these thumb studs. And it is a button lock, so you can swing the button lock action. It's got a spear point-ish blade, and I like long spear point-ish blades. The grind is a little bit on the thicker side, more like a Benchmade 940 type of knife. No failure, and the button lock detent is really nice. I love the micarta. I like that it has a deep carry clip that is reversible with a replacement plate. Nice way to have a lanyard, you know. It's hooked up to the liners. But my issue is, one, this front flipper, they did not do the jimping all the way up and around. It looks like they did, but they stopped it at the corner. So if I bring up this other one, you'll see how the jimping goes up around the corner. This one does not. It stops at the corner, and that's where it's so important, especially with a minimal front flipper like this, because your thumb lands there and it wants to slip off. Now, of course, you can go right on the, you know, on the jimping and make sure you get it, but I just find myself slipping off of it. Same thing with this one. If I hit the corner, I slip. I have to make sure I hit the top of that. Now, if they would have just did this jimping, it totally would work just fine. And then the thumb studs, they're a little bit tight in here. They're fine, it works good, but it does make the detent quite a bit stronger because it's so close to the pivot, even though it's fine. That would be like the least thing I'm even worried about because it works so good. In the hand, you know, back here you are far away from the edge, but you do feel pretty locked in. It is a slim, small knife though, but you do feel pretty locked in. You can choke up. You know, it would be a pretty useful tool, and like I said, I love the look of it. I love the style of it. It's just, you know, I just have those couple little nitpicks that that kind of aggravate me personally. But I am getting more used to it the more I have it and the more I sit here and flip it. But it's pretty cool though. And then the last one we have is this big badass fixed blade. This thing is somewhat of a beast. Let me raise you guys up. Now you can see the name right here at the bottom of the blade. Now, a couple things I really like about this. One, I love this micarta. Nice fibers. It looks like some great quality micarta that's going to age very well. I love this stainless pommel. It looks so good, nice and polished, and it feels good in the hand. Then you have a G10 liner here, full tang construction, perfect jimping, and it goes all the way up as far as you can get, especially if you're really tight to that edge. Then, you know, you can choke back right here comfortably for chopping. Like, I feel very good and secure right here. Like, if this wasn't there and I only had this would still be comfortable. This is such a perfect thickness, grip, width, contoured, all of that just makes you feel like you're hanging on and there's nothing coming. Will be impossible to get out of your hand. Now, if you choke up, same thing. You know, you feel like you could bear down with it. You feel like you could still chop with it. I love that it has a Kydex sheath. This is exactly how I would want to carry it in the field. You can obviously rotate this if you wanted to, you know, change the position of it. This would be more of a down the side of your leg, or, you know, from the hip, you know what I mean. It's from the hip hanging downward because of the size. The sheath, no rattle, no tap, great retention, nice lock in. It's not going to slide out or anything. This is cool. I'm actually impressed, and I love the sweep of this. Look at how it sweeps downward, and it has this nice thick tip, so if you wanted to chop with the front tip area, it's going to be nice and strong. Yet, it's a bit slicier in this area, but still tough. It's you know, it's got great geometry for what it's for. You know, it's not always a good idea to have super thick geometry to where it's only good for chopping. This is that happy medium where it's going to be phenomenal at chopping, but you could also do the finer tasks, you know. I love this fuller, man. It just looks really cool. Yeah, this is a winner, man. Even this little hump right there serves you perfectly with your thumb, the way, you know, it just works. Yeah, I'm definitely impressed with this fixed blade. Now, the one thing is it is D2, so with D2 steel, you know, it's not going to have a lot of corrosion resistance. You're going to want to take care of it, especially in the field if it gets wet or gets any juices or anything on it, tree saps and stuff like that. You know, it should hold a decent edge. Now, D2 is not the toughest steel. I do notice there's not really a recurve. It almost seems straight, but it almost seems like since it aims down a little bit, it should almost act like a recurve. It might be a little bit thicker in this area than this area, which would be good. But edge retention, you know, D2 holds usually a good edge. You know, that's more for what its style is more edge retention when it's done well. Problem is it's not always heat treated the best. So I would say in most cases, the way it's heat treated is probably a little bit better for something like this. But it's not, like I said, it's not a hard use steel. So I do kind of wish they would have picked a different steel than D2. But I still like it, you know. I think 14C would have been a better steel, 154 CM, CPM 154, something like that, Nitro V. But, you know, nothing wrong with D2, and I'm sure that helped them keep the price down quite a bit. It's still badass, and it'll still serve you just fine. And I bet you 90% of you won't even notice, you know, the difference in the steels. But anyways, there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.